This is the fastest gaming monitor I have ever used. Regulars on the channel will know that I usually game on a 240Hz monitor. But today I've swapped that out for this brand new OLED from MSI, and you're probably thinking, what's the need to change? Well, this isn't any ordinary monitor because aside from the other specs, this is packing a whopping 500Hz refresh rate. And today we're going to be trying it out and taking a look at what gaming on a lightning fast monitor is like. So let's dive in. So this is MSI's new MAG 272QP QD-OLED X50, which is a bit of a mouthful, but as you can tell from the name, it's a 27-inch QD-OLED monitor. And by itself, that doesn't sound like anything out of the ordinary with so many other monitors on the market with those specs. But as we've mentioned, it's the insane 500Hz refresh rate that sets it apart. Before we dive in and take a closer look at the monitor, let's open up the box and see what you get included. So in here we have the usual collection of cables, including HDMI, DisplayPort, and UK and European power cables. Then we also get some standoffs for mounting the monitor to a desk or wall arm, a microfiber cloth for keeping the monitor clean, which is a nice touch, a quick start guide, and it also comes with this factory report for the color calibration of the monitor. Then of course we have the monitor stand, which is split into the stand itself and the base. And finally of course the monitor itself. Assembling the monitor is quick and simple. The stand simply clicks into place on the back of the monitor, and then the base slots into the bottom and is secured by tightening the screw underneath. You get all the range of motion that you would expect, including swivel from side to side, tilting forwards and backwards, spinning to vertical, and adjusting the height up and down. In terms of connectivity, the monitor comes with two HDMI 2.1 ports which support 48 Gbps bandwidth, 120Hz refresh rate, VRR and ALLM, so perfect for connecting your consoles. You also get DisplayPort 1.4, USB-C with DisplayPort Alt and 15W power delivery, and a 3.5mm headphone out port. Then for power we have a simple kettle lead and no additional power supply like many other OLED monitors use. Taking a look at the design of the monitor, MSI have actually gone with a more simple and sleek design rather than the in-your-face gaming vibe that some monitors have. The stand is a simple design which doesn't take up too much space on the desk. It has a combination of both glossy and matte plastic casing and a hole in the middle for running your cables to keep them neat. On the back of the monitor we have this stealthy all black design with this large thick section which houses the components, with the MSI Dragon logo on one side and another smaller logo near the top. And one thing you may notice is that there is no RGB lighting on this monitor at all. Although at least for me, I tend to run strip lights on the back of mine, so this doesn't really bother me. Then down near the bottom we have two buttons either side of the joystick for navigating the menus. The panel itself is super thin as you'd expect with an OLED monitor, with thin bezels around the edges, and they do seem a bit thicker to me personally because I'm used to using a bigger 32-inch. And then of course we have the larger bezel on the bottom with the MSI logo. So now let's quickly break down the full specs of this monitor. So this is a 27-inch 2560 by 1440 WQHD monitor with a QD-OLED panel complete with anti-reflective coating, 16:9 aspect ratio, 500Hz refresh rate as mentioned, and a 0.03 millisecond grey to grey response time. It also features things like adaptive sync, OLED care, and anti-flicker and less blue light technology to protect your eyes. So the monitor certainly comes packed with some great specs, but how does that translate into picture quality? Well, as you can see for yourselves, this monitor looks great. The colours are bright and vibrant, they really pop, which is what you would expect from a QD-OLED monitor, and this one is no exception. You're getting that crispy 99% DCI-P3 colour gamut coverage, helping to really drive those nice vibrant colours home. But it's not just the colour, the contrast on this monitor is fantastic too. And this monitor is actually VESA Display HDR True Black 500 certified, which is an improvement over the 400 that we see in many other monitors. And that translates to some stunningly dark blacks and brilliant contrast, which helps those colours and brighter areas to pop even further. Of course, if you're using this monitor in a brighter room or with bright light shining directly on it, then you will see some raised blacks as expected from a QD OLED. But you can see for yourself the stunning contrast and how images really pop, and that looks amazing no matter what you're displaying on the monitor. This is again helped by the brightness levels, with this monitor having a 1000 nit peak brightness and a new EOTF boost mode which delivers greater luminance and actually outperforms peak 1000 nits mode, which is very impressive. In terms of image clarity, the 1440p resolution looks great on here, and with it being a 27-inch monitor, the use of 1440p over 4K still looks nice and crisp. You're getting a good level of detail in images, and even the text clarity on here is nice and clear thanks to the sub-pixel layout on the next-gen QD-OLED panel. Everything I've tried on this monitor has looked nice and detailed, crisp and vibrant, which is exactly what I want from a monitor. But of course, the thing you're probably here for is the 500Hz refresh rate. As I mentioned earlier, I usually play on a 240Hz monitor, so the jump to 500Hz is absolutely massive. But you're probably thinking, well, surely I'm going to need some pretty hefty hardware to achieve anywhere near 500 FPS in game. And unfortunately, you'd be right. Most games struggle to even get close to that mark, even on a high-end PC, so if you're running a potato PC right now, firstly it sounds like it's time for an upgrade, but you'd certainly struggle to get the full potential out of this monitor. That's why MSI kindly sent over this PC for me to use whilst I'm trying out the monitor. It's the MPG Infinite X3 AI gaming PC, and it's rocking an RTX 5070 Ti graphics card, an Intel Core Ultra 7 processor to help me put the monitor through its paces. And you can also get this in up to a 5090 and Core Ultra 9 if you really want to go all out. But without doubt, playing on here is some of the most fluid and impressive gaming I've ever done. There is almost no motion blur whatsoever, images flow smoother than the butter on your morning toast. And if you're a competitive gamer, it could certainly help to give you more of an edge. I tend to play less fast-paced and more story-based games, so it's probably slightly overkill for my use, but it's still nice to play these games and get such smooth performance throughout. Of course, you can also use this monitor with consoles as well, and you still get a great gaming experience. With HDMI 2.1 support, you get full 48 Gbps bandwidth, you can game in 1440p up to 120Hz with variable refresh rate support, and with HDMI CEC technology, you're actually able to use your controller to communicate directly with the monitor to adjust modes and settings. If you're solely a console player, yeah, this monitor's probably just a bit overkill for you. But if you're like me and you have both PC and consoles in your setup, this monitor is perfect for switching between the two and still enjoying a high quality experience. Now, with this being an OLED, we obviously have to talk about burn-in, and MSI has pretty much got you covered here. These newer gen OLEDs have a lot of anti-burn-in features built in, such as pixel shift, pixel refresh, static screen boundary, taskbar and logo detection. And this monitor also has a custom heatsink along with graphene film for better thermal conductivity to reduce the risk of burn-in even further. And MSI even offers a 3-year warranty, which includes burn-in protection as well, just in case. As this is a glossy OLED, you're potentially going to have to deal with reflections. And this screen does come with an anti-reflective coating to help with that. I have some bright lights in my room which you can see reflected in the screen, but the monitor does do a pretty good job of handling them. And in rooms where you don't have a direct light shining towards the screen because, you know, you're a gamer and not someone filming a video with a giant studio light, the monitor handles ambient light and reflections well and prevents them from being a major issue. So is this monitor worth it? Well, one of the things with OLED monitors is that they're usually very expensive, often into the 4-figure mark. But with this monitor, you can get a 27-inch 1440p 500Hz QD-OLED monitor for just £800 or $750. That is actually brilliant value for money looking at other OLED monitor prices. And of course, playing on a 500Hz monitor is absolutely unmatched in terms of smooth performance and really improves the quality of your gaming experience. Plus, aside from the refresh rate, you're getting a great image quality throughout, a ton of features, and unmatched burn-in protection and warranty. All of that together with the price tag means I'd absolutely recommend picking up this monitor for yourselves. And if you want to check it out, I'll have both this and the PC I use to run it down in the description. Of course, if you have any thoughts or questions on today's video, then drop them in the comments. And don't forget to drop a like if you enjoyed so the algorithm knows, and sub to the channel for more content like this. I'll be back with another video very soon, so I'll see you there. Catch you later.